Welcome to our presentation on student choice, voice, and ownership in the online classroom. In this video, you will meet some of our members of our Learning Experience Design team at DU's University College, our College of Professional and Continuing Studies, including myself, Chelsie Ruge, Carrie Floyd, and Ben COLTT. Let's start by asking, why does student choice matter for learning? Giving students ownership of their learning contributes to feelings of self-determination, increases motivation, confidence, sense of belonging, and engagement. Connecting the learning process to student goals by allowing them to select topics, make relevant connections, and build upon their personal and cultural strengths, values and amplifies student assets, and is both a practice of equity and inclusion, and also ensures that we are not teaching to a single imagined average student. Challenging students to take an active part in their learning and make choices also develops their metacognitive skills and deepens learning.
Hi there, my name is Benjamin COLTT, and today, as part of this presentation, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about student-led course engagement. That's something we try and do a lot of here at the University of Denver, but you may be wondering what that is and what the benefits are of it. Well, as you can see, I'll share my screen. Students will become the experts. This is the core ideal for student-led course engagement. We obviously want students to become experts on the things that we're teaching them, so this really helps out with that. And in turn, this will generally help decentralize SAGE on the stage, which is something that can be an issue for certain online courses and NC courses as well. Now, today, as part of the presentation, I'm also going to show you some examples, but in general, here's a couple of examples that we've kind of come up with as a team. You can see student-generated critical questions where students actually take the content from that week and come up with a question themselves rather than having the instructor come up with one. Another one could be student-generated questions submitted to the instructor, and the instructor can then take that and use it in a discussion or maybe perhaps in an assignment. Now, this last one is one that I'm going to show you a live example of. And it's a mini presentation ending with a question to launch a discussion that they facilitate. Now this live example, it's from an art history course, and it is where the students had to actually come up with an artist or select an artist and report on their work and their lives. And here it is live in Canvas. As you can see, there's a lot to this, but the most important part is that the students are the ones that are responsible for delivering the information and also facilitating what their fellow classmates say. So these are just a couple of examples of the things that we like to do to make things student-led, because that's where we think students will be given the power for their own learning, and that's so important. So hopefully this helped, but I'm going to pass it off to my colleague now. Thanks.
Strategy 2 is the group deep dive. This gives students the opportunity to explore topics of interest to them and apply them in their career field. This can take on a few flavors. It's great to give students the opportunity to explore topics within a discipline. For example, looking at a variety of research methodologies or approaches in their field. It's also a great option for higher order transferable skills that may cut across disciplines like project management, leadership skills, communication, presentation best practices, or something like how to pitch a project to senior management. In any case, students select the group that they'd like to work with, so they get to build on one another's passion and interest in that topic. Of course, it's also important that students share their finding with the rest of the class so that everyone gets to benefit from everyone else's learning. These share-outs could take a few different forms. As an added bonus, you could also let students choose their preferred method of sharing out. But a couple of examples would be you could have students create a wiki page where the other students could read and update that page. They could give a presentation of their findings and lead a discussion board, similar to what my colleague talked about, where individual students might lead a discussion. So in this case, the group might lead the discussion. Let's look at two examples more specifically. So sometimes you have a course where you just need to cover a variety of content-driven topics in rapid succession. So the first third of your course ends up being just kind of a brain dump. This is a great opportunity to let students select a topic they'd like to teach out, and this offers them that flexibility and interest. Scaffolding and clarity are both really critical here. Make sure the expectations are clear for what kind of things you want that teaching group to do, as well as how you want the rest of the class to respond and be accountable for their own learning. The other option, career-focused applications. This is a really fun and exciting option in a professional education context like university college. In one classroom, we could have students who are interested in software development and another set of students who are more interested in project management at a management level. So in this scenario, the course might be covering project management strategies, but you could have two separate project groups that are looking at it very specifically in the sort of software developer strategy category versus the management level category. Giving students this opportunity to dive deep into the way that this skill set would apply in their field is a great way to give students a chance to synthesize new information and apply it in their field. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague now to talk about differentiated assignments.
Strategy 3 is differentiated assignments. This gives students a choice in the way they demonstrate their learning. It may include choosing topics and contexts for applying their skills, choosing the medium. Some options might include a role play poster session, infographic, a facilitated workshop, or even a physical model or sculpture. Or it might include selecting from among different instructor-provided assignment choices so they can choose where to focus their learning energies. The key to helping students meaningfully leverage differentiated assignments is scaffolding. Start with goal setting. Have students visualize or sketch what they want to accomplish and how they can use the concepts and skills they learn in this class to achieve that. And then have students complete a proposal to justify their choices. Ask them how their topic connects to their goals. Why is their chosen problem meaningful? How do they expect to be challenged by this assignment, and how would they measure their own success? You also want to scaffold their choice of medium. When developing the course, broaden your learning outcomes to invite choice. Instead of write an analysis of X, consider construct an argument or convey this concept, which invites different ways to accomplish that outcome. Then make sure students are making strategic choices when selecting a medium. Ask them who their audience is and what mediums would best communicate to that audience. Provide samples to alleviate anxiety for an open-ended assignment like this and to get their creative juices flowing. And finally, scaffold in low-stakes opportunities for students to practice tools and technology before the final assignment. One activity I like is to borrow from improv and have students explain a concept to a specific audience by drawing from a hat and then explaining, say, photosynthesis to teenagers through a TikTok dance or to children through a storybook. Get them comfortable taking risks in a fun way. Finally, using differentiated assignments can be tricky when it comes to assessment, and instructors often get nervous evaluating such a wide variety of submissions. So here are some tips for success. Provide a rubric with flexible, goal-oriented criteria. Rubrics help students understand how they'll be evaluated and alleviate anxiety, but it builds in enough flexibility with with criteria such as concepts are effectively applied, choices are justified, the delivery is effective, or creative and critical thinking is evident. Have students help determine what success looks like. For example, by co-constructing rubrics. You might determine what meet expectations looks like, but then invite them to fill in that exceeds expectations column and dream of ways that they might go above and beyond and what success looks like to them. Finally, I encourage you to include pre and post assessments or surveys to help measure growth, their confidence in their learning, and their ability to apply their learning. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Here are some further reading resources.